You are Locked On Lakers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
LeBron James had 39 and Anthony Davis had 38, but can you win even when you lose? We're talking Laker basketball for the next 30 minutes as the Lakers lose a heartbreaking game, 134-132 in overtime. A lot going on with this Laker team, a lot to talk about over the next 30 minutes. Again, your comments are appreciated. Want to start off the show by mentioning the people over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 bonus bets if you win. I'm Dave Palais. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight as we talk about the Lakers' disappointing overtime loss to the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks, again, one of those teams that you look at the schedule and you go, this should be a win. Lakers, unfortunately, wrap up their 4-game road trip with a 1-3 record. And let's be honest, it could have been worse, right? They knock off the Utah Jazz, one of the worst teams in the league, by only 1 point. So right now, looking at this Laker team, where do they go from here? I tell you what, as we talk about what happened with the team tonight, I'm going to tell you why I think there's some positives, because it was extremely negative 2 nights ago against the Miami Heat. And then why tonight, even though you lose to a team that is, again, the Atlanta Hawks, not a team that people are predicting will win the NBA Finals, but why this is a positive and why we talk about moving in the right direction. You might have to take baby steps. And right now, this looks like a Laker team that is going to be a team that we got to figure out baby steps and a rhythm and basically a rotation. And even JJ Redick has to figure out where he is at. Let's start off the game in the first quarter. Of course, Lakers looked better than they did against the Heat. As we spoke about, the Heat just ran them right out of the building, making every single three-pointer. Lakers couldn't do anything. And the most disappointing part about the Lakers playing the Miami Heat was the effort. And that was something we spoke about on the show. Didn't hear what happened in the post-game press conference, but going back and watching it afterwards, basically JJ Redick said a lot of the same things that we talked about on the show about, hey, I'm willing to take the blame and it falls on me. And then he dropped the big but, which means he didn't mean any of that. He didn't mean he puts it on himself. He's putting it on the players. And here it is. This is the way it always goes in sports. Coaches lose games, players win games. That's where the credit always goes. I don't care what level it is. It could be Little League Baseball, but when it's professional athletes, when they went to LeBron James and they said, did you hear what JJ Redick said? He goes, I agree 100% with what he said. I didn't hear it, but I agree. I agree too. It's the players, and we saw it. We know effort. We know good basketball. We know when an athlete, whether it's college or pro, is given everything they have. When it's a pro, it's even more disappointing for the fact that the amount of money these guys are making. But when you're wearing that Laker uniform, and this is the premier franchise in the league, you expect more. And so when you aren't getting more, it becomes extremely frustrating. Like, do you want to be a Laker? Do you deserve to be a Laker? Wear that jersey, wear those colors. So many greats. I mean, all the record books, they're filled with Lakers. Lakers have 17 NBA titles. Only one team has more, and that's only by one in the Boston Celtics. So the Lakers in the first quarter, again, they get off to a better start. Effort is there, and that was the best thing to see. First quarter, Anthony Davis, who was a huge question mark in a couple of these games over the last few weeks about his effort. And we know that he's battling a foot injury. I got it. Plantar fasciitis. Sounds painful. Never had it. Anthony Davis, 9 points, 4 of 9 shooting. Just the idea that he shot the ball 9 times in the first quarter was a positive. Rui, as we mentioned in the last show, Rui is the perfect team player, meaning not a guy that's ever going to make an all-star team, but perfect for this team. When you have basically the biggest celebrities in the game and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, 2 Olympic athletes, 2 future Hall of Famers, Rui fits this team perfect. 3 of 3 from Rui right there in the first quarter, 7 points. LeBron James scored 6 points, making 2 3-pointers, and that's big because that's the shot that wasn't falling for him early, that we're going, what's going on? This is where the national media and NBA fans around the world are wondering, here's the king that's going to turn 40 in December. All of a sudden, did he get old? And first thing to get old when you're an athlete is your legs. When you aren't making 3-pointers, a lot of times you can put that on your legs. When you're airballing 3-pointers, you're scratching your head and going, I don't want to see this. This isn't our hero. LeBron makes 2 3-pointers in the first quarter. That was big. Lakers also only had 2 turnovers in the first quarter. So that's a great start. Shot 50% from the field, 33% from behind the arc. Look, that's not great for the NBA, but for this Laker team, that's what we're at right now. Second quarter, Lakers rotation defense was terrible. Hawks continued over and over again. So many points in the paint, so many wide open layups. It seems like the Lakers aren't on the same page. And where does that go? Where does that go through coaching? Where does that go through verbal skills? These guys aren't dumb. Every one of these guys have played this game their entire lives. What is happening? Who's in charge of the Lakers defense to make sure these guys are on the same page? Because it's not working. And if you want to blame the coaching on this, you can. If you want to blame the players, which I always say you blame the players because I'm sure they've been taught and they're supposed to know what to do. Very disappointing that you're giving up easy layups, easy points. I mean, points that really high school players could score with the Lakers leaving guys wide open. And we've seen a lot of that this year. Anthony Davis led the Lakers in the second quarter, 13 points. LeBron James, he had 11 points in the quarter, so that's great. At the half, LeBron had 17 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Anthony Davis, 22 points. Max Christie off the bench. I like him as a bench player. I mentioned this a few weeks ago that, you know what, Max Christie, I know thought he was going to be a starter, but right now Max Christie has to earn more minutes, and he earned that tonight. Max Christie ended up falling out of the game, but look, he had 6 points off the bench at the half, which is great. So bench points for the Lakers. This was a huge deal. And we just say it's still 5-on-5. Well, it is, but at the same time, the Hawks are getting their star players time to rest their legs to get their win, give a different look. The Hawks outscored the Lakers just by their bench in the first half, 28-8. 28-8. Absolutely brutal, embarrassing. Turnovers, Lakers only had 7, which is a huge positive for this Laker team that they only had 7. Atlanta Hawks, they had 8. So turnovers weren't a big issue as far as one team having a giant advantage. Right now, when you look at what the Lakers had, of course, Lakers shot 56% from the field. Hawks shot 52%, so that's great. We're out shooting the Hawks on their home floor. Lakers made 7 of 15 from behind the arc. Hawks made 7 of 19. Points off turnovers. Lakers had 10. Hawks only had 3. Pretty good. Lakers were out rebounded 22-17. It's kind of what you're going to get right now. You're going to get that a lot from the Lakers. It doesn't matter who's healthy, who's not healthy. It's just we know we need bigs. That's why you're hearing so many rumors out there about the Lakers and the bigs and saying, you know, possible trades, what could possibly coming to this team, to this lineup to make them deeper, give Anthony Davis basically a break. Also pull Anthony Davis away from the basket, which I think he prefers to be. Anthony Davis at age 31 is not a guy that likes to knock things around, meaning he doesn't want to get bumped. His body has to last through 82 games, including postseason. You keep Anthony Davis under the basket, even though he's, you know, a giant, he's just not built for it. We've seen Anthony Davis for years. When there's contact made, when Anthony Davis goes to the floor, is he going to get up? We're always asking that question. Just get up. Just get up. The Lakers need a bruiser, and I think it's more evident when you see the team that's being out-rebounded on a consistent basis. Anthony Davis, after 3 quarters, 30 points. LeBron James, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. Trae Young led the Hawks with 24. Trae Young, who looked like this was not going to be his night, all of a sudden, it really did turn into his night. And it turned into his night in the third quarter. And fourth quarter was interesting because Trae Young didn't do anything. He was kind of disappeared. LeBron James scored 14 in the fourth quarter. Trae Young was held scoreless. And the Lakers basically still were moving forward. Lakers doing everything they can. DeAndre Hunter was an interesting factor because if you don't follow a lot of Hawks basketball, many of you might be going, who's DeAndre Hunter? Off the bench, scores 24 points in 29 minutes, but he talked trash to everyone. Everyone who was wearing a Laker jersey. I don't care if you were in the arena. You were wearing a Lakers jersey, he was talking trash to you. And you know what? I liked it. And I liked it a lot for this reason. It created basically that team atmosphere. It's not like in baseball where, you know, you can throw a pitch at somebody to cause a fight where the bench is clear and you kind of look around and say, okay, who's in? But in basketball, when LeBron James and him and there's a confrontation and there's trash talking going back and forth and he's talking trash, meaning Hunter, to the Lakers bench, and you're seeing guys that are in, it shows that this team is a team. It's not a bunch of individuals. It is a team that is together. They just aren't winning. And I know that's what counts the most. But again, I'm looking for positives because the Miami Heat game was extremely disappointing. Overtime, Max Christie fouls out. About a minute and a half into overtime, Christie had been playing very well for the Lakers at that point, including hitting a big 3-pointer. He leaves the contest 9 points, 3 rebounds while coming off the bench. And for the Lakers, they fell apart at the end. And unfortunately, falling apart at the end was big, and that's what hurt. You know, when you look at this team falling apart at the end, good teams win at the end. It's the bad teams that fall apart. And so when the Lakers, they get that jump ball, and it should have been a situation where Anthony Davis gets the ball and he's just shooting free throws and they're kind of just wrapping the game up. It wasn't that at all. Anthony Davis puts the ball down by his hips. Tall guy puts the ball down. 3 guys around him. They call jump ball. And then Anthony Davis on the tip knocks it out of bounds at basically 100 miles an hour. And really, it's an uncatchable ball for Rui and LeBron, who are standing next to each other. Atlanta gets the ball. Trae Young gets the ball. And we know how it ends. Trae Young hits a game-winning 3. Hawks win the game 134-132. And for the Lakers, disappointing the way things worked out right there for them. So it didn't go our way. And for the Lakers, what does it take for them and things to go our way? They now get on a plane. They travel back to Los Angeles. They finish this road trip 1-3. They take on the Portland Trail Blazers on Sunday at Crypto. It's going to be nice to be home. At the same time, this is one of those trips where there was a lot of travel, not easy travel. Utah to Minnesota to Miami to Atlanta, and now a 5-hour flight back to Los Angeles. I know you always hear stories about guys who are playing cards on the plane. This is one of those games where I'm sure you're going to see and hear about a lot of guys that were just straight out just sleeping on the plane. So we'll talk more about the Lakers. What can they do to move forward? I'll get to some of your comments in a little bit as well, and also break down LeBron James and why that was a positive when there's been so much negative. A lot going on with the Lakers, and of course, moving forward. I want to mention the people over at Robinhood Gold. Right now with Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the top 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, resourceful individual Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25 APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold, don't forget, provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here. Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com/gold. Again, robinhoodgold.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. So for the Lakers and LeBron James, and we talk about, some of the positives that happen here. For LeBron James, this was a big positive. LeBron James, after the Minnesota game, everyone was talking about he's old, finishes with 10 points, barely gets to 10 points, and the shots were terrible. And again, we talked about his legs and his health, and is he aging at a dramatic rate right in front of us? Is the king not the king anymore? And so LeBron James, again, tonight with a triple-double. LeBron James played tonight's game, in my opinion, like it was an NBA playoff game, like it was an NBA Finals game. Stu Lance made a comment saying that how invested he was. He was. I mean, it wasn't just, hey, I'm out here. I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time. And I'm going to do my thing, and you guys figure it out. He was involved all the way through on the defensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, trying to get players in the right position because he knows guys aren't on the right side of the floor. He knows they're giving up easy layups. He was involved. He was a coach on the floor the way he should be, the way this team needs him to be, the way you used to see Magic Johnson do it, where he was involved, doing everything he could in his will to win, tracking players down on the Hawks to knock the ball out. The play he made on Daniels was insane. We've seen that before in some of the biggest games, but to be able to not only track a guy down, block a ball, and not foul him is amazing. But then to knock the ball off Daniels' hand and give the Lakers the ball really was one of the plays we should be talking about if the Lakers won this game. That's what you do when you're a Hall of Famer. That's what you do when you're one of the best of the best. Forget about age 40. LeBron James played the game like he was in his prime at age 24. Looked absolutely fantastic tonight. Not LeBron James' fault. Again, LeBron James finishes the night. Another triple-double, 39 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 14 of 24 shooting, made 6 3-pointers in 10 attempts, and free throws, he missed 1. Okay, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. For the Lakers, we'll take it. Anthony Davis, who, again, people were so critical, including me on this show. Anthony Davis, 38 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, almost had a triple-double himself. The 6 turnovers weren't great. Those hurt. The 6 turnovers weren't great for Anthony Davis, and you don't want to see that. But some of them are frustrating. Some of the shots a little bit frustrating, off balance. It seemed like, to me, this lineup that they went through. And again, I didn't go through the starting five, which I normally do to start the show. Anthony Davis, Rui, LeBron, Gabe Vincent in the starting lineup, and Dalton Knecht. There are many times it seemed like when the Lakers drove into the paint, that Dalton Knecht was wide open for threes. And I thought that was what the Lakers were trying to do, is let's figure out a way to get Dalton Knecht opportunities at threes, because he did knock down 2 threes. And it seemed like his shot was back. Finally, it's been a terrible road trip for Dalton Knecht. This was an opportunity for the Lakers to get Dalton Knecht not only back as a major contributor, but really your number 3 offensive plan. And the Lakers seemed like they ignored him to the point where he was taken out of the game. Like, we aren't going to use him, so we might as well take him out of the game. He wasn't on the floor at the end. It was Gabe Vincent. It was D'Angelo Russell. It was Rui. It was Anthony Davis. It was LeBron. And Dalton Knecht was, hey, if we aren't going to use him, we're going to take him out. Not a bad game for Dalton Knecht tonight, though. Again, 2 3-pointers, finished with 14 points, 0 turnovers. So it wasn't a situation where he was turning the ball over and taking bad shots. He was 6 of 11 on his shooting tonight. I don't understand why, when you look back at it, why the Lakers didn't use him more. Lakers bench play, not impressive at all. Again, Lakers bench play, it's hard to expect more when Austin Reeves, again, is out with a pelvic injury. Max Christie, 9 points. D'Angelo Russell, 8. It would have been nice to see a little bit more production from D'Angelo Russell. I think the Lakers need it. 3 of 9 shooting in 21 minutes, but 8 points for D'Angelo, 3 assists, and that was it. 2 turnovers. He wasn't playing one of his best games. It's a shame, though, that you can't rely on this Laker team and say, you know what, it all comes down to everybody has to play their best game for them to win. That's not the way it works. It's just not the way it works. And so, overall, this Laker team, can they play better? Yeah. But at the same time, is this a game they should have won? Yes. Is this a much better than the Miami Heat game 2 nights ago when it looked like, where are we going? Like, how is this the right coaching? How is this the right lineup? Where if you're JJ Redick and you're Rob Pelinka going, this is the best we can do. I mean, if I was Jeannie Buss after the Miami Heat game, I got major problems with both my GM and my head coach. Go, what's going on? Everything looks like it's sloppy. Guys don't know where they're at. And when you're questioning effort, that comes down to a coach, I feel. How does a coach let basically guys go out with that kind of effort? So what we saw in Miami 2 nights ago, the worst of the worst, if the Lakers would have won this game, I would have said this was the best game of the year for the Lakers. The best game because they needed this win very bad. They needed this in the worst way. And so for me, the best game was the San Antonio Spurs game on the road. And I thought this game was about to pass it until they fell apart down the stretch. And, I'm looking at Craig in the comments here, very sloppy down the stretch. Absolutely, Craig. Very sloppy. Good teams don't play that way. Guess what? The Boston Celtics don't play that way. Teams that are winning championships, teams that are contending for championships, that's not what happens. It's just hard. It's just hard to do. And so they're very disappointing and hard the way it went. Craig, great line here. You say AD should have controlled the tip. He should have. Actually, you know what? There shouldn't have been a tip. I don't know why, when you're the tallest guy with 3 guys around you, why you'd put the ball down by your waist and let those other guys get their hands on it. Why don't you just keep the ball up top? They were trying to foul you. That was the plan. They're going to send you to the line. But the worst of the worst scenarios happened. I guess a turnover right there, which basically ended up being a turnover, was you let 3 guys get their hands on the basketball and it ends up being a tip ball that you can't control. And so you can't tip it to 2 Lakers standing right next to each other that are big, wide-bodied guys that you can't do it. LeBron and Rui standing right next to each other. Disappointing the way it went. So here's the deal. Trae Young. Let's talk about Trae Young a little bit. Trae Young right now is a guy that you guys have mentioned before on this show. I'm a basketball fan. I know who Trae Young is. Trae Young, you've always heard the stories about before he even went to Oklahoma that Trae Young and LeBron James knew each other, that, there's a relationship there. We all wish Trae Young was a Laker. What would it take to get Trae Young? After tonight, it would take the moon to get Trae Young. You aren't getting Trae Young after tonight's game. But Trae Young, again, his value went way up if the Hawks ever do decide to trade him. At the same time, the Lakers have made big moves in the past. They've been able to pull off trades in the past and past seasons where they're able to get guys. And at the same time, you don't want to mortgage your entire future, but maybe you do, because LeBron James is 40. Anthony Davis is 31. How many more years do you have an opportunity to add someone like a Trae Young, a guy that does everything that you need, a guy to play point guard, a guy to knock down threes? He's the closest thing to Steph Curry as far as his type of game. When I'm hearing rumors that the Lakers are talking about, would they be better off? And these aren't coming from the Lakers. These are coming from basketball fans and so-called insiders that the Lakers would be better off if they traded LeBron to sit with Steph Curry and let Golden State try and win a championship. That's not at all what I want. I guarantee you LeBron's not in that mode now either, now that his son's on the team. But that's one of those situations that's extremely frustrating to go, LeBron helps another team win a championship? No, let's try and win a championship here. Let's figure out what the missing pieces are, what we can possibly do to make this a little bit better. And so it is frustrating to see that, LeBron would be the one being traded when you're hearing those rumors. Forget that. If the Lakers throw in the towel and trade the king to another team to help another team win a championship, it's going to be extremely frustrating. Figure out a way to get a high caliber player. I mean, a high caliber player, like an all-star player. Trae Young is going to be tough to get at this point. If you're Atlanta, I'm sure Trae Young would probably welcome a deal. I mean, Atlanta to me is one of the worst sports towns going. You talk about playing in LA, how great it is, whether you're playing at Crypto or Dodger Stadium or SoFi, that the fans show up. We pay for entertainment. We want to see the best of the best in person. Our top 10 list, when you figure out the top 10 best players in Los Angeles, it's pretty amazing. But you look at Atlanta in any sport, they have trouble filling up any arena. How long did it take for that arena to start filling seats? And you sit and you shake your head and you go, that's Atlanta. Trae Young in a Laker uniform would be a dream come true, I'm sure, not only for Trae Young, but for the Lakers as well. So that'd be fantastic. Again, when I mentioned FanDuel, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, and we've all had that, right now, check out the latest stats, a view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com. Join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Don't let that hunch pass you, because it might happen just tomorrow or even the next day. A lot of big college games, but the NFL, the Chiefs don't seem to cover on anybody. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good about that Chargers covering the bet. Last line I heard was 4.5 for the Chiefs. If you get that urge right there, FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment count more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Always interesting to see what happens with the Lakers and what's next. Usually it's because we're looking for an upcoming win. But right now for the Lakers, they're looking for a win just to change momentum, because this Laker team is struggling. And it's frustrating to see a Laker team struggling at any time, because the good old days had the Lakers, we said it was automatic. They win at least 60 games, 60, 62, 65, whatever it was great. You're going to watch a Laker game, your favorite team, and you're going to see the Lakers go out and put out a fantastic effort, basically run the table, especially when they're at home, and then have a winning record on the road. Right now, this team is struggling at almost 500, 12-10, 5-7 on the road. This is not what we need from the Los Angeles Lakers. And so very disappointing to see where they're at. I'm sorry, 12-11, 5-8 on the road. Didn't update it from before the game. For the Atlanta Hawks, they improved to 13-11, 7-5 at home. Not a dominating team at home. No reason why the Lakers shouldn't win this game. When you look at the players on paper and you go, how many guys on the Hawks would you trade for Laker players? You'd still take the Laker players because of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Can't point the fingers at the stars tonight, guys. You just can't. But you can point the finger at, I think, the general manager. I think you can point the finger at Rob Pelinka to say this is the best this bench can do. Some of these guys come in off the bench and you're going, what the heck are they doing? I mean, it seems like wide open layups they're missing. Like sometimes you wonder, how are they pros? And you're going, this is the best we can do. And that's insane. 17 points off the bench. And then you look at the Atlanta Hawks and you're going double-digit players off the bench. They had three double-digit players off the bench. They had 15, 26, and 20 just right there off the bench. Off the top of my head, that is 46. That's 61. They had 65 points just off the bench for the Atlanta. So 65-17, Lakers outscored. 3 double-digit guys off the bench, and 4 of the 5 starters scored in double digits. Seems like we're seeing this almost every single night when we break down a box score. So a little frustrating. As a Laker fan, where do you stand right now on JJ Redick? Are you okay with what you're seeing from JJ Redick? Is he improving as a coach? For me, it's too early to sit there and trash JJ Redick. I'm not in that mode. I think he's learning also. It's a big thing to be a player in the NBA. But let's be honest, when you're a player, you're thinking about one person. You're thinking about yourself. When you're a coach in the NBA, you're worried about 12 guys, and you got to get 12 guys to basically work on your plan. JJ Redick has mentioned this before. The days of practicing, they're kind of out in the NBA. There's not a lot of time to practice once the season begins. And we spoke about it a couple nights ago, how shoot around kind of has changed a little bit, and if for the people that aren't aware that the Lakers and every team in the NBA, there used to be a 10 o'clock shoot around where they kind of fine tune things. Guys get basically the lactic acid out of their body. They shoot, get their shot. And these are the average guys. These aren't the Kobe Bryant guys that are maniacs that stay there for hours and hours. These are guys that just go shoot for about 45 minutes, go back to their home or their hotel. And, when they're on the road, they rest, they take a nap, they get ready, they come to the arena, they pick their clothes they're going to wear because the cameras are on. You walk in and they do their thing. But for shoot-arounds in the NBA, they kind of disappeared. And it was interesting just going back in the day. Again, I covered the Lakers for 10 years, and I was one of those guys that wanted to see everything. So I showed up to everything. I showed up to like stupid stuff like shoot-arounds. And I would show up and see the best of the best. And to watch guys like Kobe Bryant were ridiculous. But even back in the days when Dale Harris, who, was a teacher, he didn't win an NBA Finals, and they had to bring in Phil Jackson to finally put him over the top. But Dale Harris was a guy that fine-tuned things. And that's when they went over the final game plan. This is what we're doing. This is we are not going to allow to beat us. This is how we're going to rotate. This is what we're going to do. And these are back in the days when it was Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones and Cedric Ceballos and those guys, Anthony Peeler, George Lynch. It was good times. They just didn't win championships. But you saw that it was more of a teaching aspect, more of what you got in high school, college. Right now, JJ Redick, who is a first-year head coach, probably could use the shoot-arounds and any opportunity you got to teach more than the players could at this moment, because it seems like once the game starts, it's hard for him to basically figure it out or make adjustments like a veteran head coach. And right now they just aren't doing it. So Lakers, again, continue to struggle, and they need to figure out a way to get back on track, taking on the Portland Trail Blazers again Sunday at Crypto, which is great for the Lakers just to get home, get in their own beds, at least for one night. By the time they get back to Los Angeles, it's going to be in the middle of the night when they travel back from Atlanta, and then to hopefully rest a little bit on Saturday, sleep in their own bed going into Sunday. A lot of things going on, of course, NFL action, everything else. And then the Lakers obviously will be ready to take on the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers team they should beat. Trail Blazers right now are 8-14. 8-14 on the season, 9 games back. If you want to know where the Lakers are at, are they still in the playoff picture? If the playoffs began today, number one, you'd say, what the hell are the playoffs doing beginning today on December 6th? But yeah, the Lakers are in the top 10. The problem is the Lakers are number 10. Very disappointing. It seemed like just a little bit ago they were number 5, and now all of a sudden they're number 10. Oklahoma City Thunder continues to roll, 17-5. Rockets again second. Mavericks in third. Memphis Grizzlies are the 4th seed. Golden State Warriors are the 5th seed. Clippers, always disappointed to see them in front of the Lakers, 14-10. That's again without Kawhi. Phoenix Suns are the 7th seed. Nuggets, 8th seed, and the Nuggets believe they can play better. Minnesota is the 9th seed at 11-10. They believe they can play better. The Minnesota Timberwolves have not figured out what they are yet, because we saw them what they did against the Lakers. We saw what they did against the Clippers a couple nights ago. And then you have the Lakers holding on to that 10th spot right now. Teams behind the Lakers, I think the Lakers will stay in front of these teams the rest of the year. San Antonio, Sacramento, Portland, New Orleans, and the Utah Jazz. A lot of talk Zion Williamson would be available in trade talks. Would you have any interest in him? I think the one player people would love to see come back to the Lakers would be Brandon Ingram. When you talk about New Orleans looking to trade and possibly get better, could you see Brandon Ingram back on the Lakers? I would love that scoring threat. Brandon Ingram was a guy that I think a lot of us felt it was hard to get rid of. I almost put him in the same category. I don't know if I do this, but he's been an all-star since he left, but almost like an Eddie Jones. Like Eddie Jones, it was sad to see Eddie Jones go. If you follow the Lakers for a number of years and you realize that Eddie Jones had to go because he was in the way of Kobe Bryant, Eddie Jones was a great player. He just wasn't Kobe Bryant, but they had to let him go. Brandon Ingram was a guy the Lakers had to let go. Julius Randle, a guy they had to let go. This team, I think, needs a guy more like a Brandon Ingram than even a Julius Randle at this point. But they need points. They need something. They need an offensive threat. I'm very interested to hear after this when I get a chance to listen to the post game. I hope somebody asks JJ Redick about Dalton Knecht. Why all of a sudden, when it seemed like he was back to being Dalton Knecht, the person he relied on, why was he out of the game? Why did he lose minutes? So a lot going on. Again, 2 days from now, Lakers will take on the Portland Trail Blazers. Will be interesting to see if the Lakers can get back on track. Can they continue to get better? Even though the Lakers lost tonight, I saw a lot of positives. It would have been really hard for me to tell you right now there are positives that they came out and looked like they did against the Miami Heat. I think guys would have got on that airplane saying, we have the wrong team, we have the wrong coach. What are we going to do to change things up? And for the Lakers, I think as hard as they played, they did everything but win the game. And I know that it's hard to say there are positives in losing, but I think there's a positive, especially after what happened 2 nights ago. Embarrassing moments in Miami, big moments for Anthony Davis. Again, to wrap it up, just want to mention to you the Lakers, if you're not aware of what happened, Anthony Davis played great and LeBron James played great. Lakers lose in overtime, 134-132. Trae Young hits a game-winning shot. LeBron James with a triple-double, 39 points. Anthony Davis, 38 points. But the star of the game for Atlanta ended up being Trae Young when they needed him most, hits the game-winning three, 31 points and 20 assists. 20 assists, pretty amazing night for him. Again, thanks for joining me, talking Laker basketball. Looking forward to being with you all season long. Again, Lakers, they fall in overtime 134-132. We'll be back with you on Sunday night, hopefully talking about a Laker win. Good night, everybody.